I'm here, so.
I'm Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
Howdy, Oklahoma.
My name is Chet Holmgren, and I'm down to dunk.
Dead gum.
I'm Josh Giddey, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to dunk.
Is that like you eat them together?
Everybody tells me to get the bag of burgers.
I need like a straw. Like,
Howdy. I'm an artist on the court.
this is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
My name is Kenrich Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
It might be Aaron Wiggins.
This is a troll. It's a troll. I'm trolling.
Howdy, Papa.
Because I think it would take away from who he is, you know? Yeah.
I love Oklahoma. I love Oklahoma to death.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
Perfect. Very good.
I like the hat.
You like the hat?
Vava.
This is J-Dub, and I'm down to dunk. I'll be doing a lot of dunking.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me today on a random Tuesday, December 5th, is my guy, Tyler Parker from The Ringer. Tyler, what's up, man?
Dude, man, good to be here. Thank you for having me. I realize every time that you say with me today, there is a part of me that always wants to hear you say the hot ham man, John Hamm. there is like something in the back of my head that says the only possible thing that could be coming next.
It's hot
Even
ham.
though I see ham nowhere, but even in my head, I think it's the hot ham man.
It's the hot ham, man. That is probably the best intro that I have. I intro a lot of people during the week. The hot ham man is definitely.
Oh, I'm not here to tell you how you're doing at your job, but I do feel that one is very strong. It is number one for me, but I'm sure all us DTD heads have our faves,
Well, I'm glad that you are talking about rankings because I want to do something a little different today. We're just going to go through and we're going to do some top 5 power rankings. Okay. Maybe some of you OG dunkers know the top 5 power rankings song. You can just sing it in your head right now, which is really just Luke singing the words top 5 power rankings to the tune of Go Go Power Rangers as loud as he possibly could, which is great. I need to try to find it. I think it's on one of my old computers somewhere.
That Power Rangers theme song, I think, definitely qualifies. You know how there was that meme about the GoldenEye song from the video game where it's like,
oh yeah.
Man, he had no reason to go this hard. Yeah. The Power Rangers theme song, the guy that was singing that, he really had no reason to do what he did, but I'm grateful for him.
It's in all of our brains now. If you're 30 to 40-ish, that song is just planted in your brain somehow.
Amazing how short it is, but how pumped up you get immediately. When you get to You Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, when you get to the little run at the end of Rangers, you're ready to go.
Oh, you're feeling so good. You need some fighting now. Okay, so we're just gonna go through a few different power rankings. It's not going to be a very long podcast, just because I don't have a ton of time on my hands right now. Alex is going to join the Friday podcast is the current plan.
Nice.
So look for Al on Friday. I'm traveling to Las Vegas for the event, and so I'm trying to make sure that I get all my podcasts in before I go. So it's going to be very fun. You're not going to be there, are you?
No, I'm not going to be there.
Bummer.
It's I like going to Las Vegas, but other people can go. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm a fan of the whole thing, but I wasn't gotta be there, man.
Right.
No ifs, ands, or buts. It's no, there's plenty of buts. It'll be I'll be all right.
Yeah. Okay, first one. Top 5 players. The best players for this season so far for the Thunder. For the Thunder. Where are you at here?
You want me to go 5 to 1 or 1 to 5?
Let's go 1 to 5 is more dramatic. I think.
Okay, great. I love drama. SGA in the 1 spot, I think, just feels like a given. Even as good as my number 2, Chet, has been, it feels like SGA. You can tell that he knows there's even more energy to exert on defense now because the offensive load isn't as great, and he has taken that and run with it, leading the league in steals. Like the stocks numbers combined, I think he's top 5 in the league. He's added. It feels like he's gone up a little bit of a level there, just in his overall activity on that end of the floor, deflections wise, everything that he's added. That on top of, like, it feels to me the fadeaways become even more of a thing this year. All the work in the post. I don't have any numbers on that to support that. This is just pure eye test stuff. But all the work in the post is really starting to show itself in a major way every night. It used to be like a thing that he'd kind of sprinkle in, like, depending on who's on me. If I feel like I got an advantage, I'll go for it. Now it's like, no, this is part of the bread and butter. It feels like he's just as comfortable there as he is, like, getting into the mid-range and making people twirl, you know?
Totally. Yeah, he's been ridiculous. Like, I didn't think he could get that much better because last year he was so absurd. But he's better. I mean, he's a better player. He's a better defender. Offensively, he just kills guys in the mid-range, like you said. I mean, it's really hard to stop him. And it's funny, like you say that, like he has had his, like, worst game as a Thunder player this season. He had 7 points in a game
Right.
season, which feels impossible. But like night in, night out, like he does seem to be better than he was, and like is an MVP candidate, is somebody that needs to be talked about as like an all defense type of guard too. And I hope that he gets the credit that he deserves because he has been like one of the best, probably 3 or 4 players in the league this year so far.
Yeah, right. Because I think it's even beyond, like, you talk about someone like Jamal Murray, who's an incredible player, incredible shot maker. You know, depending on who you talk to, is in the vicinity of SGA as a guard, right? Like, just as an individual performer. And he's not, you know, some complete negative on defense, but he's also not this positive either. You know what I mean? That SGA is what he is as a primary scorer and is also this defensively.
Yeah.
It's scary stuff. And I don't think it would be easy for him to be Dame Light and put up crazy numbers and just kind of Olay on the other end. Like, especially now that Chet's back, I think it wouldn't have surprised me one bit to see him not revert in any way because he didn't have bad habits in the first place, but, like, you know, think that he might be able to conserve a little bit more. It's gone the opposite direction where it's like, I've got more juice to give in other areas now. I can extend myself in these ways and fill in some gaps even more. And so it's I mean, I've just been totally delighted. Would he be your number one?
Easily. Yeah, he's been that good. Number 2 is Chet. Yes.
Same.
Yeah.
And didn't think about it as good as I think Dub has been, and as excited about him as I am. I didn't think about it long at all, to be honest. The overall offensive game, like, I feel like we had some idea of what to expect defensively, and his activity there has still been special, but I feel like it was sort of, you could get some peaks of what was to come in some of the summer league stuff. Same with the offense, but there were maybe fewer flashes there than there were defensive flashes. Seeing what he's turned himself into and is continuing to become as a ball handler and as somebody who can be a hub, and you can put him in the high post and get him the ball and say, hey, you go do you. And if they draw 2, you're going to know to get rid of it. You know, like, to see some of the stuff he was doing against Anthony Davis the other night. He had that one fadeaway where he kind of caught it in the mid post, right? Kind of elbowish area, I guess. does that little retreat dribble, and you're kind of like, okay, he's, is he not feeling right about where he is? And it was, no, let me just set you up for this.
Yeah.
And you can't get to that shot.
Yeah.
If Anthony Davis can't get to that shot, nobody can. Unless, like even Wemby was, Chet seemed to be fine for the most part, right? Like I don't know what his ceiling is offensively, because I feel like anytime I start to think about it, I get into wild territory in my head where it's like, all right, Tyler, settle down. It's his first year. But he's only going to get stronger, and like he's going to start to be able to work out of the post a little bit more if he wants to. But yeah, just in terms of this year, it couldn't possibly be more ecstatic with what he's been. I mean, it's just it's outrageous.
Yeah, I mean, he's like 17.6 points per game, 8 boards, 2.6 assists, 2 blocks, almost a steal per game, 53% from the field, 39% from 3, 86% from the line. I mean, it's crazy.
Dude, he should be shooting more. Like
Yeah.
they need to get him more shots. That him and Giddey are taking basically the same amount of shots a game. At this point is becoming a little bit of a crime to me.
Yeah.
They need to. I would like to see Chet be. I like that he doesn't rely on the three. I'd like to see him be a little bit more liberal with those attempts, though. Honestly, like the numbers support it. The shots there, you never feel bad about it when he takes it. You never feel like he's taking one that's forced or anything. All the stuff comes in the flow of the offense. I wish he'd get up a few more a game, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, when you make the comparison that he's taking the exact same amount of threes that Lou Dort is, and he's taking the exact same field goal attempts that Giddey is, you're like, hey,
crazy.
There's some basketball crimes happening here in Oklahoma City. He needs to be. I mean, he's going to become more of a focal point, as things continue to move on. Like he's going to, in Mark Daigneault's words, he's going to clear the hurdles that he needs to.
Anytime they put him as the handler in these inverted pick and rolls and stuff, and you start to see what because obviously the assist numbers aren't there right now because the Thunder don't need them to be, but he's got some stuff as a passer. Like there's plenty to work with there, and it feels like that's a part of his game that he hasn't even gotten a chance to really explore yet, because he hasn't necessarily gotten to, or that's the wrong way to put it, but he hasn't attacked as much as he's going to, right? Like because he's going to start drawing two as soon as he puts the ball on the floor here pretty soon. Yep. And to watch some of these smaller lineups be able to start slicing and dicing a scrambling defense, trying to get back to shooters, I think that stuff's going to start opening up for him more, going to the rim off these reversals and things like that. Like it's only that this is where we are now in essentially year one. It's really hard not to let your imagination soar a little bit with what he could be very soon.
Yeah, I start like thinking to myself, is he like KD and KG if they merged?
What's funny is like that's totally plausible. Like if you had said that before the season, I would have wanted to be like, yeah, but there would have been part of me that's like, all right, Andrew, let's just tap the brakes, throw me the keys for a second. Let's make sure that you can touch your nose. Okay. Like but it really, the rim protecting is like he's truly a natural at it. It's not just that he has length, right? There's timing. There's the ability to go up with both hands. He's not, I mean, everybody's made a thing about this, and deservedly so, but he does a great job of keeping blocks inbounds.
Yeah.
He's not trying to get on a highlight reel with the stuff that he goes up with two hands.
You ever block somebody with two hands?
I've never blocked anybody with two hands, and honestly, every time I see someone do it, I regret not having tried it every game I ever played. It should have. Every time I see someone block with shot with two hands, I'm like, that should have been priority one for me every time I laced up. Whenever I was growing up, it's the coolest looking thing in the world.
It's really cool,
and I think it kind of. I think it kind of mitigates some of the strength issues there too for him when he's meeting these guys up at the summit, right? He's not just going up with one hand. I think that he can go up with two it's not just cool, it's extremely advantageous. There's something else with him where his anticipation is so good, and he's just such a lunatic. Like, he goes after all of them. There's going to be a point, I think, where he's going to start catching them out of the sky. Yeah. He doesn't realize that it's possible for him to do yet. And I think it's one of those things where, some of these like young kids coming up, once they are able to dunk, even in practice, they can't do it in a game yet because they haven't, their body hasn't experienced doing it at game speed in a tangle of a defense, right? In the tangle of a defense. Yes. Like, that honestly feels like something that's plausible for Chet because his mind feels ahead of the play so often too. Like he's reacting like a reactionary madman who doesn't know what's coming, but he does. And that he's able to do that. There was that last block he had against the Mavs the other night that he just spiked down with basically his wrist. Yeah. It felt like the kind of thing where it was like, once things slow down for him a little bit more, it's going to be like a goalie in soccer when they pick it up and see somebody running and then just immediately hurl it ahead to that. You know what I'm saying? That I really do think that is. It's not crazy to say that that's in his future, just because there's just something special with the timing, man. Like, he's just always there.
Yeah, he's so good. Third, it's J-Dub.
Yes.
Pretty clearly. He's, and some people will be like, "Oh, I'm not sure he's been as good as I would have hoped he would be." And that's been true in like different spots. But you look at like the jump he's made, even just in scoring, is like he's up from 14 to 17.6 points per game. He's still shooting 50% from the field. He's at 36% from three, 87% from the line. He's taking 1.5 more free throws per game at 4, which I still feel like could be up quite a bit.
It feels like that's like where the leap happens. And I'm not sure that it's not that he has to change much about that. Honestly, I think it just comes with just being in the league more and getting a little bit more respect. Shea obviously got craftier with it as he got older, but part of it was just like, no, you don't understand. I'm this good. I get these calls. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I'm forcing the issue and going to the lane. Dub is so strong and so athletic. It feels like it's just a matter of time before he starts getting into the 7-8 a game kind of range, as long as he just stays in attack mode. I think with Kenrich coming back, a lot of that stuff is going to help boost things in other areas too. Honestly, like, it feels like that he is able to do some of the dirty work that can sometimes fall to a guy like Dub whenever Kenrich isn't playing. Mm-hmm. And I think that Kenrich coming back, where maybe Dub's not having to, guard some elite wing scorer for as long as he might have to when Kenrich isn't playing. I don't know. I think there's plenty of reasons to be stoked about the development. I mean, the thing that I always come back to with him is just the like obvious competitive like freak that he has become. Mm-hmm. And seeing the way that he's competing with Luka, even at the end of that game, most recently, there's just a special swagger to him that feels unique. And he's still. I think if Chet wasn't in the mix,
Mhm.
we would be just it would be all about like, man, and Dub, and he's doing it. He's he's better. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't, the shot is still there, right? Like it wasn't. There hasn't been a regression anywhere. You know what I mean? He's been able to, and that he's able to be such a huge part of this team already and be a part of a defense like this already when he's largely playing minutes at the 4 or scaling up and guarding these point guards and stuff in certain situations, right? That he's that much of a two-way force already. I mean, I think it's, blue skies ahead for him. He just, I've seen no reason to get concerned.
Yeah. How does it feel being a Thunder fan knowing that the Thunder are first in free throw percentage and first in 3-point percentage right now at December 5th?
The 3-point shooting stuff, do you find it like hard to even wrap your head around? It's still, I still don't, it still doesn't click with me to think of the Thunder as a good 3-point shooting team, but they are now.
Yeah.
It was the weakness for so long that there are so many guys now who you have. I mean, Kaysen is leading the league in 3-point percentage.
Yeah.
Leading the league in true shooting. It's Isaiah Joe, the last 10 games. I think I wrote it down. I think he's at something like 56% a game from 3.
And he's even had like a stinker in there too, which is even crazier.
But yeah, I don't know what to do. Sorry, I was wrong. The last 10 games he's shooting 52% from 3 on almost 6 attempts a game. He's another guy who I would like he doesn't need to be taking the same number of shots as Lou at this point. And I would like to see the gap close between those minutes. I think right now Kaysen plays more than Joe. Kaysen's around 21, Joe's around 20, and I think Lou's around 28 right now. It feels like those guys have earned maybe that gap to close a little bit. You know what I mean? They've earned a little bit more minutes than that. And Joe is another guy, like I said with Chet, where I would like to see him shooting even more, honestly. The numbers when Isaiah Joe and Shea are on the floor, just those lineups are a plus 17.01 in 145 minutes. The offensive rating is 121. The defensive rating is 104. If you put Kaysen out there with them, and this is Stephen Dolan, I saw was tweeting these, so I totally just stole these from Steve. Thanks to Steve.
Shout out Steve Dolan. The
SGA Joe Kaysen lineups, offensive rating 131, defensive rating 106. They're a plus 24.96 in 154 minutes. Those guys need to be playing more.
Yeah,
you just have to find minutes for them. And I mean, I know that you and I would talk about, and other people have realized what a Daignault kind of guy Kaysen is. I think Joe similarly, because he's not at all a zero on defense, and has really started to flex even a little bit more, kind of as a guy who can. Hey, it's not just threes. He can put it on the deck. He can make decisions with the ball. You don't feel. You're not worried when he dribbles. This isn't a Danny Green situation, right? Like there's a lot more to this guy than just the shot.
Is he your number 4?
Yes, he is my number 4. He's who I had number 4. I thought about if I was like too high on him, but after looking at all the lineup data and then just thinking about when the Thunder feel they're most dangerous, he's always included in that lineup. That is when I'm most excited about, oh, let's see what this offense can do here for this little stretch, whatever this 4 minutes, he's always included in that. He's always out there.
Yeah.
And Kaysen for me was honestly number 5. It's he's starting to feel undeniable. Obviously, the shot's going to come down at some point. Surely, he's not the greatest 3-point shooter in the history of the planet. I don't think. I mean, if he is, I'll buy the jersey for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the how far along he is defensively already, and kind of coming back to a thing I said with Isaiah, there's none of that rookie scatterbrained kind of helter-skelter, oh no, what are you going to do here?
Yeah.
You just don't feel that way with him. I get that vibe more off Dort sometimes than I do off of Kaysen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's there's just a maturity there, but also just like there's something in how he sees the game. He had some line the other night that I saw was tweeted after the Dallas game. Somebody asked him about like how he thinks about cutting, and he said, if it's crowded, don't go.
Yeah.
And there's something about being able to narrow an idea down like that. That's how he plays.
Yeah.
He gets all the clutter out of there. And you can tell that he has made things simple for himself, and he knows who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that is uncommon with rookies, I think. And that that a team with the kind of defenders this one does has felt so comfortable putting him on the scores they have put him on late in these tight games, I think just says everything about not just what they think about him, but as like an organization, but also what the other players think of, you know what I mean? Like if even if he's Daig's boy, if it's not working, Shea or Lou or someone or Kenrich is going to go over there and be like, no, I've got him.
Yeah.
Like this is you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's none of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this kid's ready to go, like strap up, you know what I mean? And so it's hard. Kenrich was my other sort of, also received votes. He hasn't played.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, who else did you consider for like the 4th and 5th spots? Because like those are like the available spots.
Yes, yeah. Kenrich was the other guy for me, and he hasn't played enough for it to be too hard of a decision or anything like that. But in terms of a connector kind of piece that just does whatever the task is, there's something so immediate about his play. There's no okay, Kenrich, hold down the fort until we can until Dub can work his way back, and then we'll scramble, Chet will take your guy and then you'll scramble to the backside and blah, blah, blah. There's none of that. You feel good about him no matter who he's guarding. If he gets a rebound and goes with it, you feel good about it. If he's the guy catching it in the middle of the floor, you feel good about it. If he's the guy screening, if he's the guy handling, there is a he's just well balanced, man. Like there's not a lot he does bad, and he can fill in whichever area you're struggling in.
Yeah.
And there's just always going to be minutes for somebody like that, because he unlocks small ball fun in certain ways. He boosts the rebounding in a major way. He doesn't fix the issue. It's still a problem, right? Like no one would say that since he's been back, they've been, good at ending possessions, but they've definitely been better. And he closes that gap and makes it way more palatable to deal with. You know what I mean? Because he's just constantly scrapping. And so I can't say enough good things about him.
Yeah. I think the only other person I would put in here is Lou. He's just like a little bit more erratic and like less steady than those guys, especially offensively. Defensively, like he's great and he's always just in the game and mostly doing the right stuff. But then offensively, there's just like moments where, I mean, I just think of there's a moment in the Mavs game where Shea had a fast break. It was 2-on-1. Shea got all the way to the rim, dumped it off to Lou, and Lou misses the layup.
And then he did not do that at the end of the game.
And then it happened again at the end of the game, the exact same situation. And Shea was like, "Nope, keeping it this time, brother." And it was, and we're all sitting there watching it, thinking like, "Don't you do it? Don't do it again."
This is not some situation where you need to trust the wide receiver again. You just go run the ball in like it. I love Lou and have such a soft spot for him. And every time I feel like people really get down on him, then all of a sudden the Thunder in some must-win game and he goes for 30. Yeah. And he's obviously somebody who they trust in a major way, just across the board, but especially in big-time games. Mm-hmm. And if you ask me who the most important Thunder players would be if they played a Game 7 tomorrow, he would probably be in the top 5, if only because you'd feel silly for ignoring past precedent, right? Like
he's not just
at all. And it is one of those things. It is sometimes hard to balance knowing all that with also like, hey, Lou, you don't have it tonight, and they're on a 30-0 run, and you just missed one from that exact same spot. Like, maybe that well's dry for right now. Maybe we give it. Maybe we explore some other some other spaces on the floor here.
Yeah,
you don't need to be taken back. And I get that he's shooting well this year from 3 percentage-wise, right? And he's always been weirdly hot from the corners, but and he's done a better job about downshifting as far as field goal attempts are concerned. Like, I don't want to take anything away from the ways that he's obviously accepted his new role.
Yeah.
There are just some moments in some big spots where he's the last guy on the floor I want shooting.
Yeah.
And he's still the one taking it. And it's not some situation where the shot clock's winding down and it's got to go up.
Yeah, you got to heave it. Yeah, no, and it's funny. Like the Thunder like started to put together like a group of guys. Like, yeah, I would like trust probably the top 5 guys that we listed here. I think like, yeah, I would trust any of those guys to take the shot at any point, and you don't feel like there's nothing like in your gut that's just like, no, please don't do this. Whereas like there are other guys on the roster that you would feel that way about, but like those, it's kind of cool. That even like Kenrich, if he took a 3 in like the closing moments of the game, it's like, all right, whatever. Like if
he's nails, man.
Right, I think it's right too if he thinks it's right.
He's nails, and there's something about him too where it's and you could say this about Dort also, but he earns those shots that, you know what I mean, like those wing threes that he gets, that stuff where he'll trail behind the play sometimes, and what happens, what they'll run even more for Chet now. They've got him in the 5 kind of dragging behind everything. Mm-hmm. Like I've no problem. I mean, he hasn't he hasn't played enough for it to even the numbers to even matter yet, but he's shooting 53%, from 3. I mean, you don't feel bad at all when he's letting it go. And that's really been the case since he got to the Thunder. I mean, it's the reason that and obviously he's not going to be shooting 53% from 3 all year, same as Kaysen. But the reason I trust that to hover at a healthy number is because he's shown that that's just what he is now. He's not the like undersized 4 who was known for offensive rebounding and only that whenever he came over from the Pelicans. This stuff has been, seen for years now. And it's just, it's more of the same. And he's a guy who, now that Chet's there, you feel like can flex even more in other areas. You know what I mean? Like his malleability and how he can be a screener and a handler at any point on the floor. Yeah, you just unbelievable cutter, and with passers like this team has, like, he does so many things well, that the way that the Thunder play, the constant driving style, everybody getting to touch it, like, it accentuates all the stuff that he's good at. Like, these all around kinds of players can just shine in this sort of system because it actually uses every part of their skill set. They're not tamping so much shit down in the name of a role. You know what I mean? They're able to function in that role and still feel part of things, which is a credit to the whole offensive setup that they've created. And that there's none of this, like, get it to a point guard. There's none of that.
Yeah.
There's, if you got it and you got numbers, you go. And players feel that trust, and it can only help things.
Yeah, totally. Go follow Tyler Parker and all of his stuff at the Ringer. Anything cooking in particular right now that you'd like to share?
Some things cooking, but won't mention the specifics of it yet. But got a couple things cooking there, and like they've had me on some of that Through the Ringer, which is a little FanDuel TV thing that they've got going, and so yeah, that stuff's happening, and yeah, just keep an eye on there, and stuff will arrive soon.
Awesome. All right. We will be back on Friday with some kind of a podcast. I don't know what that's going to look like.
Next time you should just say, like, but I'm not going to say what it is. A mystery. You're going to love it, but just build it up.
Yeah.
You know?
It could be anything. Could be anyone. Who knows? Hope you guys have an awesome day. We'll talk to you guys again on Friday.